Hello again, everybody. I'm Paul the Nitro Skywers. Welcome to this edition of the Delaware Pro Wrestling Report. Glad that you could join us. We got a lot to talk about today. We'll talk about the ECWA's New Year's resolution, DCW's Rumble for Glory results. The UWA had their event this past week. We'll take a look at that. Plus information on 302 Pro Wrestling and Rampage Pro Wrestling's first event of the new year will be announced right here. Plus the Delaware Pro Wrestling Report's Top 10, a new segment right here on this show. So let's begin, shall we? We begin with the ECWA. Excuse me. Before I begin, let me announce, as I mentioned on the Nitro Quarter, I'm nearly recovering from a cold, so you'll have to excuse me if I continue coughing a little bit. I apologize for that. Let's begin with the ECWA. New Year's resolution card happened on January 21st of this year. Here are the results. In the main event, Sean Carr defeated Azrael in a lumberjack match to keep the ECWA title. Team ECWA defeated Team Combat Zone Wrestling in a interpromotional six-man tag team matchup. Karen Q defeated Tasha Steelz. Team PCA defeated Breaker Moran and the Extreme Rednecks. Mr. Ooh La La defeated Cronin. Colossal Mike Law lost to Zombie King. And Ty also defeats John Galindo. That was from the New Year's resolution card. The next card coming up, of course, is the big one, the Super 8 tournament at the Woodbury Heights Community Center in Woodbury, New Jersey on April 29th. That's the next time we'll be seeing the ECWA in action. Moving on now, let's talk about DCW's Rumble for Glory on January 14th in Milford, Delaware. In an 8-man tag team matchup with the winning team to qualify for the Rumble for Glory. By the way, Casey Carlisle was hosting the event. Mr. Ooh La La, the Classics, and Johnny Galindo battled Killen McMurphy, Ken America, Joe Kerr, and Sean Cannon to a no contest. However, DCW host Casey Carlisle decided that both teams would enter the Rumble. Great decision. The Heart Killer, Chris Wilde, defeated Raymond Dogger. Because of that win, Chris Wilde entered number 30. Raymond Dogger entered number 1. No Limit title match, KO Storm defeated Phoenix Fury to keep the title. Swayze defeated Omega Phoenix by disqualification. And the DCW title match, Breaker Morant defeated Adam Chandler. Then in the main event, Corey Castle won the Rumble for Glory Royal Rumble match, and now will get a shot at the title at the next DCW event, which will be held on February 25th. And that was Rumble for Glory event results. The next time you'll see DCW back in Milford, February 25th at the Community Center. It is Guts and Glory 14, where you'll see Breaker Moran defend the DCW title against the Rumble for Glory winner Corey Castle. And Mr. Cruz teams up with Mr. Ooh La La to take on Kevin Klein, the owner of DCW, and former WWE Light Heavyweight Champion Gilbert. That's right, Gilbert returns to Delaware. Can't wait. It'll happen on February 25th. Guts and Glory 14. And that is your DCW report for this week. Moving on now to the UWA. Very successful event put together by Anthony Soprano. It was in the News Journal, I think, this past Sunday. Make sure you read the article. It's fantastic. The results are as follows. Tim Hill won a Battle Royal to start the show. Rocket Rebel defeated Kendrick Kamari, excuse me. RPW, Rampage Pro Wrestling Open Challenge title match. Johnny Malloy, the Bearded Villain, defeated 5 local opponents in a gauntlet match to keep the championship. Great job by Mr. Malloy keeping the Open Challenge title. Former Intercontinental Champion and Tag Team title holder Tito Santana defeated Crazy Ivan in what was now a non-title match. I don't know why. but Tito Santana victorious in that, but Crazy Ivan would return later in the show to defend his title. Sizzling Stan Styles defeated Michaels Amato. Vinny DiMucci and Josh Aston defeated the Southern Enforcer and Rex Savage. The Gunners defeated the Riot City's Most Wanted. And in the main event, UWA title match, Crazy Ivan defeated Ricky Reyes, who challenged him earlier in the night for the title. That was the main event for the UWA show. Again, a very successful show from the UWA. Congratulations to Anthony Soprano and all the folks that put together a great show near sellout in Frankfurt for the UWA. Moving on now to 302 Pro Wrestling. I do not have the results from their January card, but the next event for them at the Delaware Auto Exchange will be on February 4th. It is Bashiversary. It will be hosted by Ring of Honor's Taylor Hendricks. And on the card will be WWE Hall of Famer, Mr. USA, Tony Atlas. Again, that's February 4th in Felton at the Delaware Auto Exchange. And that's your 302 Pro Wrestling Report for this week. Finally, let's talk about Rampage Pro Wrestling. The first event of the new year will happen on March 11th at the Agricultural Museum in Dover. Remember, the Agricultural Museum, the Big Red Barn, right at the Home Depot intersection of Route 13 in Dover. It is called Spring Brawl, and we already know now that the bearded villain, Johnny Malloy, will defend the Open Challenge title at Spring Brawl, plus all the top stars of Rampage Pro Wrestling coming March 11th at the Agricultural Museum. You could get tickets now. Go on Facebook.com/Rampage Pro Wrestling for more details. And that's your Rampage Pro Wrestling Report for this month. Now, it's time for our newest segment, the Delaware Pro Wrestling Top 10. Just like in the Nitro Quarter Top 10, all the top title holders, the heavyweight champions, will have the automatic top spot in the top 10. Rampage Pro Wrestling Champion, Muddy Waters. 302 Pro Champion, Kendra Kamari. DCW Champion, Breaker Morant. UWA Champion, Crazy Ivan. And the ECWA Champion, Sean Carr. Here's the top 10 as far as contenders go in their respective organizations. Number 10, Sizzling Stan Styles from the UWA. Number 9, Rockin' Rebel, not only for the UWA, but Rampage Pro Wrestling as well as 302 Pro Wrestling. Number 8, Azrael from the ECWA. Number 7, Michaels Amadio from the UWA. Number 6, No Limit Champion, KO Storm, DCW. Number 5, the Bearded Villain, Johnny Malloy, Open Challenge Champion for Rampage Pro Wrestling. Number 4, Swayze from DCW. Number 3, the Heart Killer, Chris Weil from DCW. Number 2, Ricky Reyes, the UWA. And the number 1 man in the Delaware Pro Wrestling Top 10, Corey Castle, from DCW, the Rumble for Glory winner. Well, that's it for this edition of the Delaware Pro Wrestling Report. Thank you so very much for joining us. Our next episode will be on February 26th. Until then, I'm Paul the Nitro Skyver saying, so long, everybody.